Welcome to our podcast, where we delve into the enigmatic and often misunderstood world of black magic. Today, we embark on a journey through stories that are as real as they are unsettling, narrated by those who have experienced the inexplicable and the unexplainable. But first, let's understand what black magic is. Often shrouded in mystery and fear, black magic refers to the use of supernatural powers for malevolent and self-serving purposes. It's a term that has been used for centuries, spanning across various cultures, each with its own interpretation and practice. In some cultures, black magic is deeply intertwined with traditional beliefs and rituals, while in others, it's regarded with skepticism and fear. Historically, black magic has been a contentious subject. It has led to witch hunts, social ostracization, and even legal repercussions. Yet, despite the fear and stigma, it has remained a part of human history, a testament to the enduring belief in the supernatural. In different cultures, black magic takes on different forms. In the Caribbean and African societies, it might be known as voodoo or juju, deeply connected with ancestral spirits and the natural world. In South Asia, jadoo or kala jadoo often intertwines with local folklore and religious beliefs. In Western societies, the concept of witchcraft and sorcery echoes these themes, albeit through a different lens. But what does black magic mean in the modern world? How does it impact the lives of those who believe they have encountered it? This podcast aims to explore these questions. We will hear first-hand accounts from individuals who claim to have been affected by black magic. These stories are not just tales of the supernatural but are reflections of cultural, psychological, and social dynamics. As we listen to these stories, it's crucial to approach them with an open mind and respect. The experiences and beliefs shared in this podcast are deeply personal and often rooted in cultural contexts that might be unfamiliar to many of us. They provide a window into the complexities of human belief systems and the power of the unseen and unexplained in shaping lives. So, join us as we explore the shadows of the unknown, the stories of real people who have experienced what they believe to be black magic. Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, these narratives promise to be thought-provoking, challenging our understanding of reality and the mysteries that lie beyond the realm of the explainable. In this series, we're not just telling stories, we're uncovering the layers of human belief, fear, and the unceasing search for meaning in the inexplicable. Welcome to a journey into the heart of the unknown. Welcome to the stories of black magic. The Unseen Curse. Welcome to the first chapter of our exploration into the enigmatic realm of black magic. Our inaugural story introduces us to Maria, a 35-year-old school teacher from a small village in Romania. Maria's life, seemingly ordinary in many respects, took an extraordinary turn due to an encounter that challenged her perception of reality. Romania, a land steeped in folklore and mystical traditions, has long been a place where tales of the supernatural are woven into the fabric of everyday life. Maria, however, was always a skeptic. Raised in a modern, pragmatic family, she viewed these stories as nothing more than vestiges of an old world, remnants of superstitions meant to scare children. Her encounter with black magic began subtly. It wasn't in the form of a dramatic event, but through a series of inexplicable occurrences that slowly invaded her life. It started with odd dreams, whispers in the night that she dismissed as figments of her imagination. But soon, these dreams began to spill into her waking life. Objects in her home moved without explanation, and she often felt a chilling presence, an unseen gaze upon her. Initially reluctant to attribute these events to anything beyond the ordinary, Maria's skepticism was tested as these experiences intensified. Seeking explanations, she consulted friends, psychologists, and even a local priest, but the answers were always elusive. It was her grandmother, a woman deeply rooted in the old ways of the village, who first suggested that what Maria was experiencing might be the work of black magic. Intrigued yet apprehensive, Maria embarked on a journey to understand the forces that seemed to have entangled her life. This story is not just about the encounters she had, but also about the transformation of her beliefs, the challenge to her rational understanding of the world, and her quest for answers in a realm where logic and reason offer no solace. Join us as we step into Maria's world, where the veil between the known and the unknown is thinner than she ever imagined. Maria's journey into the obscure world of black magic began on an ordinary autumn evening. As she walked home from school, the crisp air felt heavier than usual, and a sense of unease settled over her. That night, her dreams were plagued with shadowy figures and whispered incantations in a language she couldn't understand. She awoke feeling exhausted, dismissing it as a mere nightmare. However, this was just the beginning. In the days that followed, Maria's life became a tapestry of unexplainable events. It started with small, almost trivial occurrences. She would find her belongings not where she left them, hear footsteps in her empty house, and sometimes catch a glimpse of a shadow darting just out of sight. The rational part of her mind searched for logical explanations, but the frequency and strangeness of these incidents grew, making them harder to ignore. One evening, as she prepared dinner, the kitchen lights flickered erratically before plunging her into darkness. A cold breeze swept through the room, carrying with it a faint, almost imperceptible whisper. The words were indistinct, but their malicious intent was palpable. This incident marked a turning point for Maria. The skepticism that had long defined her worldview began to crumble under the weight of fear. Seeking answers, Maria delved into the local lore of her village. She learned of an old legend about a witch who lived in the nearby woods, a woman scorned by the villagers who had turned to dark arts. This witch, it was said, could cast curses on those who crossed her, and her spirit still lingered, seeking vengeance. Maria, a rational educator, found it hard to believe such tales, yet the unexplainable occurrences left her questioning everything. The situation escalated one night when Maria woke up to an oppressive feeling of being watched. Her room, usually a sanctuary, felt suffocated by an unseen presence. She tried to scream, but no sound came out. The air around her grew colder, and the shadows seemed to close in. It was then that she saw it, a figure, cloaked in darkness, standing at the foot of her bed. Its eyes, glowing faintly in the dark, bore into her, filling her with dread. Panicked and desperate, Maria sought help from a local healer, a woman known for her knowledge of the old ways. The healer listened intently to Maria's story, her eyes reflecting a deep understanding of things beyond the realm of the ordinary. She spoke of an Achai Rao, the evil eye, a curse born of envy and malice, often cast unknowingly by those harboring deep-seated resentment. The healer performed a cleansing ritual, using herbs and incantations passed down through generations. As the smoke from the burning sage filled the room, Maria felt a gradual lifting of the heavy air that had been suffocating her. The healer warned her that the path to breaking the curse would be arduous, requiring both physical remedies and a journey into the depths of her own beliefs and fears. In the weeks that followed, Maria adhered to the rituals prescribed by the healer. She also started to confront her own skepticism, exploring the intersection of the rational and the mystical. She revisited the stories of her grandmother, seeing them not as mere superstitions but as part of a cultural tapestry that offered insight into the unexplainable. But the true test came one night, when the shadowy figure returned. This time, Maria, armed with her newfound understanding and the protective amulets from the healer, confronted it. She spoke words of strength and rebuke, a chant that echoed the healer's incantations. The figure, which had seemed so menacing, began to wane, its form dissipating like smoke in the wind. Gradually, the strange occurrences lessened. The oppressive atmosphere in her home lifted, and her nights were no longer plagued by disturbing visions. Maria emerged from this experience profoundly changed. The world she once understood was now a place where the lines between the real and the unreal were blurred. Her encounter with what she had come to accept as black magic was not just a series of frightening events. It was a journey that challenged her core beliefs. It forced her to reconcile the rationality of her education with the mysteries of the unseen. This experience, while harrowing, enriched her understanding of the world, teaching her that sometimes the answers we seek lie in the spaces between the known and the unknown. Maria's story is a testament to the power of belief in the human spirit's capacity to endure and adapt. It reminds us that the world is full of mysteries, some of which may never be fully understood, but all of which are a part of the tapestry of human experience. Maria's ordeal with what she had come to accept as black magic left an indelible mark on her life. The experience was not just a fleeting encounter with the unknown, but a profound journey that reshaped her understanding of the world and her place within it. Before her encounter, Maria had been firmly rooted in the empirical, in the tangible and explainable aspects of the world. The supernatural was a realm of fiction, far removed from her reality. However, the events that unfolded challenged this perspective. She found herself at a crossroads, where science and the supernatural intersected, forcing her to expand her worldview. Maria began to appreciate the existence of mysteries beyond the scope of rational explanation. She learned to balance her skepticism with an openness to the inexplicable, understanding that some phenomena might lie beyond the current understanding of science and reason. This paradigm shift was not easy. It required her to confront deeply ingrained beliefs and to reconcile them with her experiences. The journey through her own fears and uncertainties became a catalyst for personal growth. Maria emerged from this experience with a deeper sense of self-awareness and resilience. She learned to trust her intuition, to listen to the subtle cues of her environment. The process of facing her fears head-on, especially in confronting the shadowy figure, endowed her with a newfound strength and courage. Her experience also led her to explore the rich tapestry of her cultural heritage, to understand the beliefs and traditions of her ancestors. This exploration gave her a greater appreciation for the wisdom contained in these age-old practices and beliefs, recognizing them as an integral part of her identity. Second story, Shadows of the Past. In this next narrative, we turn our attention to Alex, a 40-year-old graphic designer from New Orleans, a city where the past lingers like a persistent fog, and where the line between the spiritual and the material world is often blurred. New Orleans, with its rich history of voodoo, Creole traditions, and a unique blend of cultures, provides a vibrant backdrop to Alex's story. Born and raised in the heart of the city, Alex grew up surrounded by tales of spirits, voodoo queens, and mystical practices. Despite this, his own view on such matters was grounded in skepticism. Having pursued a career in the digital arts, Alex's world was one of pixels and logic. far removed from the spiritual practices and beliefs prevalent in his community. To him, the stories of black magic and voodoo were part of cultural heritage, to be celebrated and respected, but not necessarily believed in. However, Alex's relationship with these tales of the supernatural was complicated by his family's history. His grandmother was known in their community as a traiteur, a traditional healer who practiced a mix of Catholicism and Creole folk magic. She was a figure of both reverence and mystery in his childhood, someone who seemed to straddle the worlds of the seen and unseen with ease. Despite his grandmother's influence, Alex remained a skeptic. He appreciated the cultural richness of his heritage but viewed it more as a subject for artistic inspiration than a reality to be taken seriously. His approach to life was pragmatic, focusing on what could be seen, touched, and explained. This perspective, however, was put to the test following a series of events that challenged his understanding of reality and forced him to confront the shadows of the past. Alex's story is not just a journey into the unknown, but also a deep dive into a cultural legacy that he had long kept at arm's length. It is a tale of how the past can echo into the present, blurring the lines between belief and skepticism, and opening the door to a world that Alex had never truly believed existed. Alex's confrontation with the world of black magic began subtly, echoing the eeriness of a New Orleans fog that rolls in unnoticed. It started with an inheritance, a collection of old, leather-bound books and assorted artifacts from his grandmother. Among these items was an ancient-looking grimoire, filled with cryptic writings and strange symbols. It was a relic of his grandmother's mysterious past, a piece of her legacy as a traiteur. Initially, Alex viewed the grimoire as a curious artifact, an heirloom that was more about cultural history than supernatural power. He placed it among his other collections, a conversation piece for his modern, art-filled apartment. However, its presence seemed to cast a shadow that went beyond its physical form. A heaviness filled his home, a sensation that was initially imperceptible but gradually became impossible to ignore. The first sign that something was amiss came in the form of dreams, vivid and disturbing. Alex found himself walking through the old streets of New Orleans, but they were distorted, twisted into nightmarish versions of themselves. He would wake up with a start, the echo of whispered Creole and French incantations ringing in his ears. These dreams left him feeling drained, as if he had been wandering through the city all night. With each passing night, the line between his dreams and reality began to blur. He started to hear whispers in his apartment, felt unseen eyes watching him. Objects would move inexplicably, and shadows seemed to dance at the corner of his vision. Alex, the perennial skeptic, found himself questioning his own sanity. The psychological toll began to manifest in his everyday life. He became withdrawn, his work suffered, and his friends noticed a change in his demeanor. The vibrant, logical artist was now a man on edge, jumping at shadows and muttering about inexplicable happenings. In a desperate attempt to find answers, Alex delved into the grimoire. The more he read, the more he felt a growing sense of unease. The book spoke of spirits, of ways to communicate with the other side, and of practices that tread the line between the sacred and the profane. It was as if, with every page he turned, he was peeling back the veil between the worlds, inviting something into his life that he could not understand, let alone control. The climax of his ordeal came one stormy night. The air in his apartment grew thick, the electricity in the atmosphere palpable. Alex, surrounded by the artifacts of his grandmother's legacy, felt a sudden, overwhelming presence. It was as if the spirits from the grimoire had stepped out of the pages and into his world. His heart raced, his mind reeled, and in that moment, he felt an indescribable terror. It was then that he saw it, a figure cloaked in the shadows, its features obscure but its intent clear. Alex felt an icy grip of fear, a realization that he had inadvertently awakened something that had been dormant, something that his grandmother had perhaps kept at bay with her practices. In the days that followed, Alex sought help. He reached out to practitioners of voodoo, to historians of New Orleans' spiritual past, and to those who had known his grandmother. He learned that the grimoire was not just a book, but a gateway, a link to a world that his grandmother had navigated with respect and caution, a world that he had carelessly trespassed into. Through a combination of rituals, guidance from those well-versed in Creole traditions, and a newfound respect for the powers he had once dismissed, Alex began the process of closing the door he had inadvertently opened. It was a journey that forced him to confront his skepticism, to reconcile the logical, modern world he knew with the ancient, mystical world of his ancestors. The experience left Alex fundamentally changed. The artist, once grounded firmly in the material world, now found himself grappling with the reality of the unseen. He had walked the shadowed streets of his nightmares, touched the fringes of a world beyond comprehension, and emerged with a new understanding of the delicate balance between belief and disbelief. Alex's encounter with black magic, whether real or imagined, was a journey into the depths of his own psyche, a confrontation with the legacy of his ancestors, and a testament to the enduring power of the stories and beliefs that weave through the tapestry of New Orleans history. It was an experience that reshaped his reality, blurring the lines between the past and the present, the tangible and the ethereal, the skeptic and the believer. Our third narrative brings us to the heart of India, where ancient traditions and modernity coexist in a unique tapestry. Here, we meet Neha, a 28-year-old software engineer from a small town in Rajasthan, a region known for its rich folklore and vibrant cultural heritage. Neha's story is deeply intertwined with her family's legacy, a lineage that has been shadowed by the enigmatic and often misunderstood world of black magic. In Neha's family, stories of black magic weren't just old wives' tales. They were a part of her family's history.